We are now live on YouTube and Facebook. Chairman, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, all.
Morning.
Welcome to the meeting of the Administrative Operations Committee of the Public Building Commission of Chicago, being held today, October 6th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Director Sanchez, please call the roll.
Thank you, Chairman Maldonado. Chairman Maldonado.
Here.
Commissioner Randolph.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Director Sanchez. First item of the agenda is approval of the minutes from the meeting held September 6th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Motion approved. Next item on the agenda is public participation in accordance with the Opens Meetings Act. Registered speakers will be allowed 2 minutes to provide comments.
Mr. Chairman, there are no registered speakers today.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is report by Executive Director Karina Sanchez.
Good morning, Commissioners, and happy
Good morning.
Friday. Today we are going to be presenting two budgets, the proposed 2024 Daily Center operating and capital budget and the proposed 2024 PBC administrative budget. PBC Director of Finance, Tanya Boucher-Weekly, will provide further details on both proposed 2024 budgets. That concludes my report for today.
Is there a motion?
Move to accept the report.
Report is accepted. Report by Director of Finance, Tanya Boucher-Weekly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon, but it's morning today. Today I will be presenting two reports to you. The proposed 2024 PBC administrative budget and the proposed 2024 Daily Center operating and capital budget. I will start with the 2024 administrative budget. Over the past 3 years, we have successfully maintained a flat budget while navigating a national pandemic, escalating construction costs, and other economic challenges with resilience and determination. Our commitment to fiscal responsibility has driven us to implement strategic measures aimed at optimizing every dollar spent. Our team has sought out cost-saving opportunities from negotiating favorable terms with suppliers to exploring innovative construction methods. As you know, our single source of resources is through project administrative fees generated on work in place. PBC only forecasts the percentage estimated to completing in the upcoming budget year of the work in place. If we look at in your packet, it should have been page 1, but I believe it's going to be page 4.
I think we just matter whether they're in the books. We're just looking at the next one. There you go. Pretty easy.
It's under tab D2.
Yeah, we're looking at the PDC
Okay.
budget first.
Yes.
You go to where it says the 2024 administrative budget anticipated work in place, it may be the last page in there.
Yes.
For you. The chart depicts a view of our actual and anticipated with over a 6-year period. As you can see, from 2020 to 2025, our WIP has decreased significantly by over 150 million for work in place over this time. In 2020, we were at a high of 251 million, which was a reflection of when we had the CPS fiscal year 2019 capital program. But over the past 3 years, our WIP is averaging under 100 million, more likely closer to 90 million, with a continued forecast of further decrease. Currently, for 2024, we have a proposed of 74 million, and in planning for 2025, 43 million based on our current undertakings. As you know, the PBC has been reporting on its decline over the last several years. We continue to take the steps through rigorous cost management, efficient project execution, and innovative solutions so that we have not only sustained our operations, but also continue to deliver essential public infrastructure projects. Nevertheless, this continued fluctuation in our WIP levels continue to remain a #1 concern for our organization's future. Last year, I also reported that by the end of 2023, we would be operating in a deficit between resources and expenses. That continues to be the case between what we have for budgeted resources and expenses. We look at the chart where if historical resources versus the expenses, you can see where we have been trending over the same 6-year period, where our resources are lower than our expenses. For 2023, we have a slight projection based off of what our actual budgeted expenses would be versus what our resources, because of the closeout projects, that we may come out with a small surplus. But due to the 2022 significant amount of decrease in our resources from our expenses, we're still operating in a deficit fashion. With that being said, we continue to, while we budget higher, with actuals for our expenditures continue to come in lower than the budgeted amount due to our continued look at decreasing expenses and some of the expenses that we are able to mitigate. In 2024, our projected resources are $6,794,283, that is on the third page of your report book. Our administrative fees that we will project to collect are $5,049,283, with the bulk of those coming from the closeout of the program that we have with CPS. Once we complete those projects, which we are projected to be finished with the bulk of the financial closeout through our first quarter of 2024, we will be left with a lower amount of administrative fees eligible for collection. Our reimbursements for the year are projected at direct project management time of $1 million, and our allocation of our insurance costs back from the building of $755,700, which is how we come up with the total of the $6,794,283. With that being said, the proposed 2024 administrative budget expenses show an overall increase of 1% or $130,924 from the 2023 budget. The total administrative expense budget for 2024 is $8,361,438. As we look at the full review of this, our total personnel increase of $68,212 is attributable largely to changes in insurance and retirement and costs that we project to increase. Other areas of increase go into the insurance for the Daly Center, which is a direct reciprocal, but insurance costs continue to rise. And so we have to project the increase in that area, as well as within the rent and leasehold improvements, which is a direct result of the budgeted amount that I will report on for the Daly Center operating expenses in my next report. The other area where we see increase minimally is with the professional service area, where those are reflective of our audit and accounting fees, as well as some of our trustee fees, and those are just normal industry-wide increases that are projected. We saw a decrease as we continue to look at how we can reduce our administrative costs to stay within that. So we were able to reduce that area, as well as reduce somewhat minimally or remain flat within our computer maintenance. While we see some increases in some areas, we were able to decrease in other areas to mitigate and remain at a flat area for that line item. Based on all of this, we project that our administrative expenses will exceed our resources by $1.6 million for the year. So despite our financial constraints, we remain committed to upholding our standards of excellence, delivering our projects that matter, and ensure that the PBC continues to be a beacon of fiscal responsibility and effective public services. We will continue to explore our innovative solutions, seek partnerships, and prioritize all of our projects so that they yield the maximum benefit to our Chicago residents. We will ensure that our limited resources are directed towards initiatives that have the most significant and well-being within our company. This concludes my report for the 2024 PBC administrative budget. Any questions?
I do. So you're projecting to 1.6 million deficit?
Yes.
And so is the plan then to continue to try to get new projects to offset?
So that is the plan that we've been having in place. And I have to say, I appreciate, your help in giving us work. That's definitely been helpful. But when you really look at the number that we need in order to be able to sustain, we are looking at having a whip at least of $300 million every year. And in talking to the administration, I think one of the things I made them understand is that the 300,000 is per year. Like if we get a project, say it's 100 million, it's multi-year, so we don't get that $100 million. But I do think that we are going to have to take a hard look as to what the future of the PBC is going to be if we don't get more support. We're hoping to, I know that the county is potentially going to have some work in the future. I've been talking to them in some of their facilities outside of the city of Chicago, but they're just waiting to get full funding in order to be able to partner up. But the reality is, it's just going to be a hard conversation. I mean, Tanya can speak more to it, but again, we do need projects. Really, that's the only way that we can survive. We're not a taxing body. All of our money comes from revenue from projects, but it's going to have to be a commitment, a significant commitment from the administration and the board to really say, hey, when we have projects, we got to send them over to PBC. And I think that we proved ourselves time and time again, not only of our ability to manage projects and deliver them in a successful manner within budget, on time, but also we have the expertise. And I think that other agencies are struggling when they built their in-house capital teams, but we've seen that they do struggle with some of those things because again, they're not focused on, construction is not their main focus or the core of their work. So really what I'm asking is for the administration and the board just to be an advocate for the PBC, identify projects for the PBC, because there's only so much I can do in talking to the other like city commissioners and county commissioners. There really just needs to be that support from those that sit around the table.
Okay.
But I know you've definitely have stepped up to the plate.
I
But
know you gotta, we're small potatoes.
yeah, no, but it's something, right? And I think that gives us also the ability to prove that even our focus internally as PBC is that when we, have a project, we very much focus on minority and women participation, community hiring. I mean, that I think it's one of the things that sets us apart from many other entities who do what we do. And I would always say this as a public developer, our bottom line is people, not money. I mean, that's always what we focus on. And I know with the new mayor, I mean, he just came in, but I'm really hoping that that there will be opportunities there
Right.
in the future.
Thank you.
Do you want to add anything else, Tanya? I know that you are the budget director.
No, I mean, I think that what we're saying is that, as we've been saying, is that one, we need more work. We have been very creative in ensuring that we are taking all of the resources that we are able to come in to ensure that we are smoothing them out over the period of time of the lifestyle of the project to be able to ensure that we have enough resources to try to match where we're at. We've also done a considerably well job at, keeping our expenses under a certain level. So when we go back and even when we looked at 2023, where we're at right now and looking at what we fully project the total of the expenditures to be at the end of the year, it's still, we're always operating where we're at least 1.5 to 1.7 million under what the approved budget is. So that's very helpful for us. And that brings us a lot more in line with where we're at with the resources from a period of time, which is what it, over the earlier 2018, 2019, we were able to start putting surplus together. It helped us through that point. Who knew that we were having a pandemic? That definitely saved us. But then we still had to come back in 2021. We still had to do some significant cost savings, reductions in staff, just to start meeting the fact that the project work wasn't there from, a lot of the things that's going on. But now that we're out of there, we have to start looking at where we're going. What is it going to be? Because we've now done our bridge for a 3-year period, throughout this pandemic, done an excellent job at maintaining and staying and trying to, just kind of fight through it. And here we are. We don't have, we should be able to say we have project work that we know about all the way through 2027 right here.
Sure.
We should know that. We should know the lifestyle span of it without some more of a significant capital program. Like, even with the Forest Preserve, we do know that there's things that's coming out that we won't finish those projects through almost 2027, 2026. So we're in the planning phase, from development and just being a part of, we know that this is going. We know Morgan Show, which is a significant project for us, but that's going on, but there's those concerns about what else can we get
Yeah.
that could be significant, that could start off, in planning, and we could get some of these undertakings, and then therefore we can go so that we can do much better with our cash flow projections. So we're just kind of stuck in every day because we don't have a lot to cash flow project.
I also want to take a moment to commend staff because we are at the lowest staffing levels we've ever been.
Yeah.
We are asking staff to do more with less essentially when people have left. We've been able to divide up those responsibilities amongst other people. So even when you look at our costs, our salaries, they pretty much remain flat. Most of our increases are due to things outside of our control, which is insurance.
Yeah.
But I think there comes a point where there is nowhere else to cut,
No.
and if anything, I would like to see an opportunity to get more work so I can hire more people to be able to support the current staff that we have, because they're working hard, they really are. So
Does the city, I haven't worked for the city in a long time, does the city have like a 5-year capital plan for, for building libraries and police departments?
not really from what I heard of. I know that they had a AIS, and we've gotten some of the work from them in addressing some of the deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
But that's been a challenge because I think even within AIS, they've had some change in administration, and we've seen a number of projects that was sent to us.
Mhm.
Essentially, they've taken back.
Uh,
And it really hasn't anything to do with PBC inability to function. I think it's been more their internal staffing and challenges that they're having. So that really has hindered us a bit when we were expecting to get a certain amount of work and then they take it back. So, but I don't think, unless Ray, you've heard something, I haven't heard like a specific 5-year capital plan on anything. And the ones that are working on something like that is CPS, which historically has been our largest client. And the fact that we haven't really gotten much work from them in the last 4 years, that's really where we've taken the biggest hit. And they're the ones that have consistently had a budget for capital work. And that's another area where we hope with the new, now that we're back to the president of the board being on our board as commissioner for PBC, can definitely reignite a positive relationship when we can get more work.
Okay.
But that's being helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for my second report, I will report on the 2024 operating and capital budget for the Daly Center. The Public Building Commission and Transwestern are pleased to present this budget to you for the 2024. The overall operating goals for the Richard Day Daly Center are to ensure the security and health safety of all the building occupants, pursue new renewable energy measures, and bolster building safety and emergency readiness. One of the primary operating goals is the procurement of the tenancy of the retail space on the concourse level. We were very wishful that we had a tenant for the 2023, and when that fell through, we're back to looking to leasing of that vacant space to continue to provide another rent stream, which will help to provide tenants with a convenient place for beverages and snacks without leaving the building, but also to assist in the overall operating expense budget. With those factors, the 2024 operating expense budget proposed is $21,343,892. And that reflects an increase of 3.11% over the 2023 budget. That was $20,703,795. The increase in operating expenses equates to $643,096 and is primarily a result of the annual increases to utility expenses stemming from enhanced operations of the building's mechanical systems, annual increases in the union cleaning, security, and engineering wages that go into those contracts. We continue to have elevated levels of cleaning and disinfection for staffing in all areas from the COVID-19 mitigation. That will go on throughout 2024. The allocations of the budget are allocated among the tenants based on their occupancy usage. The occupancy usage for 2024 tenants are Cook County at 94.92%, which will bring their annual base rent up to $19,787,413. The city of Chicago has a 0.344% and their base rent of $71,709. The Illinois Workers' Compensation Commission has a 1%, so they have a base rent of $210,123. And the Illinois Liquor Commission has a 0.73%, and their base rent is $154,048. The PBC has a base rent to usage of 2.985%, which gives us a base rent of $622,239. All of these were based on the square footage and of the space that they are leasing. In addition to the operating expense budget, there's a 2024 capital improvement plan, which consists of a number of projects for 2024. Our total anticipated budget is $3.8 million which consists of 12 key projects that will go on throughout the year. The percentage of these go into the same prorated share for each of the tenants, so that each of the tenants have a capital program budget of, for Cook County, $3.6 million, City of Chicago, $13,000, Illinois Workers' Compensation of $38,000, the Illinois Liquor Commission, $28,000, and the PBC, $114,000. That will total out to the $3.8 million if all projects that are proposed go through completion this year. That is all that I have for the Daily Center budget.
I don't have any questions.
Any questions?
I will let you know that all of our office space is leased. I think this is the first year we have all of our vacancies are completely full, right?
The office space, but not the
Padway,
the
which is
Padway
the-
space. The office space is fully leased at this point, but we're still looking for the tenant for the Starbucks area to bring in additional rent. I do know that we have been able to increase and receive revenue from the plaza, area, and ensuring that we're booking out there to help because all of those areas help to reduce the cost of the monthly operating package. So those actually, and that then is shared back through the tenant decreases in their rent.
Very good. All right, move to accept the report.
Reports are accepted. Report by Deputy Director of Procurement, Patricia Montenegro.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So today we have 3 items on the agenda. The first item can be found under E1, and it is the report of 2 specialty consultant task order awards. The first award is to ECS Midwest in the amount of $244,975 for material testing services at the Debt Elementary School Annex Project. The second task order award is to Princeton Technical Services, Inc. in the amount of $27,973, also for material testing, but at the Joint Public Safety Training Campus Phase 2 Outdoor Scenario Project. Princeton Technical Services is an MBE firm. The second item can be found under E2, and it is the recommendation for appointment of an architect of record for the Forest Preserve District of Cook County's district-wide restroom rehabilitations project. SMNGA Limited has committed to partnering with Brook Architecture, an MBE WBE firm. The PBC is seeking approval to appoint SMNGA Limited as architect of record under our existing task order-based master agreement. The third item can be found under E3, and it is the recommendation for appointment of an architect of record for the Forest Preserve District of Cook County's district-wide LED lighting replacement project. Urban Works Limited is an MBEW firm, but has also committed to partnering with Millhouse Engineering, an MBE firm. The PBC is seeking approval to appoint Urban Works Limited as its architect of record under our existing task order-based master agreement. This concludes my report. Any questions?
Move to accept the report.
Reports accepted. Report by Chief Development Officer Ray Guerrero.
Thank you, Commissioners, people, and morning to you. There are no change orders this period to report. I will focus on our field order activity report. There are 2 field orders that exceed our reporting threshold. One is for a school project, the other is for a municipal project. I'll start with our school project, the Kenwood Academy High School renovation project as part of our FY19 program. It's field order number 24 in the estimated value of $215,531. This is related to repairing and replacing damaged non-functional ductwork that was discovered above the ceiling in the existing auditorium. We reviewed the scope extensively with our partners at CPS, and we believe at CPS that this is an important investment to make in the auditorium to replace that ductwork, ensure that it's functioning. That work is proceeding as we speak. The information was reviewed by our partners at CPS, approved for field order issuance. Without delay, we are working in that area. We're working with the principal as well to make sure that there are no impacts to school operations. The second field order is for one of our municipal projects. You might remember the new Salt Dome facility over on Grand Avenue, working with our partners at Department of Streets and Sanitation and our partners at AIS. This field order is number 20 in the estimated value of $527,628.06. This is directly related to restoring the embankment that we previously installed with regard to the landscaping that was along that embankment. Secondly, it is to address additional voids that were discovered beneath at the subgrade locations from the salt pockets. One at the ring road. There are areas at the ring road just outside of the salt dome, and then there are voids that were discovered at the entrance into the salt dome. The good news is all of the salt that's required has been delivered and installed by Department of Streets and Sanitation. No impact there, and we are working currently, thanks to the commissioner at AIS. She was able to approve this work, so we can schedule the pre-installation conferences on site. The work is proceeding as of this morning without delay. No impacts to Department of Streets and Sanitation either. That concludes my report for our field order activities. Is there any questions?
No.
Move to accept the report.
Report is accepted. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.